Hi, my name's Yvonne Gracia. And, I lost my brother Elijah Gracia to homicide November 30th, 2021. One of the big things that I've been reflecting on most recently is the misinterpretations of being a homicide survivor. Um, and I guess a big thing is like realizing, or I guess maybe educating others, feeling this need to like educate others that this type of grief is different from, like, I don't know how else to say it, but like normal grief. Because like losing anyone is super painful and it can be traumatic, but losing my brother this way, like this is different. This is big. I've lost other loved ones to, I guess you could say, like natural causes, old age, sickness, things like that. But losing someone to homicide, having someone taken away from you, that just sucks you into like this entirely different world of pain. Um, so it's like on top of what a person has to go through with a normal grief, missing the person, realizing that you'll never get them back, you'll never get to have a conversation with them again, missing everything you shared with them, and um, then the other stuff sets in, this like next level stuff of the trauma of like for me, like receiving that news that morning, that like replays, that moment replays in my mind. And then imagining what my brother was going through in his final moments there, like what was he feeling, what was he thinking, what he saw through his eyes, like just replaying like the details of the scene, um imagining what it was like because I wasn't there, and imagining, replaying what the witnesses had told us, or law enforcement or whatever, hearing all of that, and then like replaying it over in your mind, and like kind of mapping it all out in your mind. Like it's horrible to sit and imagine all of that. um yeah, it's a lot. And then the biggest thing is like the realization sets in that like this is someone's fault. This was all, someone did this to my brother. Like he was taken away from us, you know um he was only 21 years old. He had a whole life ahead of him, and he's gone now, all because of someone else's just careless behavior, complete disregard for human life, And I think that's where the anger rolls in. That's where it's like, this isn't just the normal grief, this anger comes in, and then this thirst for like vengeance. You want revenge for who did this. But in our case, we don't know like who's to be punished, we don't know who did this. So then there's another extra layer of like, I can't trust anybody. Like, what if this person has something to do with it? What if that person knows something and they're pretending to be my friend to my face? And what if, it's a lot of paranoia, and your mind wants to go in all these twisted directions, and it can get very dark. Um, and that's what separates it from like the normal grief. I feel like, it's not just missing a person that passed away. It's very traumatic, and it's something that can lead you down like just this ugly dark path. And but I know, like, there's just like with regular grief, like there's a whole process to healing and all of that. um I know that there's a lot of work to be done, because I don't want myself or my other family members who are dealing with this loss, like I don't want us to go down that dark, ugly path, like I said, so that's why, I'm grateful to be here and have this support from HSI. And I really feel a lot stronger and braver than before to finally be able to reach out for the support. Like there's this part of me, like I wish I would have kind of been involved sooner with homicide survivors, but it's been a year and some months now. But I mean, I'm glad to be here now, and it's just in this short time that I have been able to connect with others. um it's nice to have this like community where we can feel safe to kind of travel that, because it's this is going to be a long weary journey and a lifelong journey, so it's like it's nice to have a place where we could kind of travel that road alongside others who are on their journey, um like others who understand that this is not normal grief, and just being able to connect with others who recognize that and not feel so alone in your pain. Yeah, and then I am a mom of two kids, so I try to hold it together for them. Like I can't be falling apart every moment of the day, so it's like it's really hard to like juggle that and then at the same time deal with the judgment from other people, um when really, I mean, you're just human and you're gonna have a range of emotions.
Yeah.
It's not normal to be stuck in one, so it's like, yeah, I wish more people understood that. And then I also wish that other survivors, like I don't want them to feel the way that I felt, of like that like sense of like, beating yourself up of like, oh, I should be like this or I should be like that. It's like I hope that others realize like that's not fair to us, and it's okay to have joy and sadness exist at the same time. First off, I feel like the biggest thing I feel like I do to honor him would be keeping his pictures everywhere. I have like a spot in my living room, and then I have him up on my refrigerator, he's on my kitchen counter, he's on my dashboard, my car. I just it feels good to have him everywhere. Because I feel like there's like this irrational fear I have that like I'm gonna forget him or something, which sounds crazy. I know I won't, but it's hard to explain. I also like, I want to hear his voice, so I'll kind of go through with that, speaking on that fear of like, that I'll forget. There's times where I'll go through our old messages and I'll replay his voice text to kind of just hear him again. Yeah, but honoring him, I feel like ever since the very beginning, I felt this like urgency to have candles lit and to keep candles lit, just keep him in the light like that, And so shortly after all of this happened, I felt like, I don't know, like called to get flowers and candles and set up a little spot um, at the spot where it happened, But I feel like that is more of something of more of a spot like where his friends, it's like a common area, where his friends and other people can leave things. But at home, I feel like my spot in my living room, with his pictures and little things I've collected for him over time. um, I kind of have a little setup there where I have his candles lit and little notes that I'll write to him. Or I've even had, my kids, his nephews, wrote little notes to him, things like that, little sketches and stuff like that. And then I just, most importantly, like keeping his candles lit. And there's something like significant about that. Like recently, for example, I tried to buy, I went out and bought him like some battery operated candles. And
Yeah.
for some reason, it's just it's not the same. Like there's something about like having that actual flame burning, you know. But yeah, and another thing that I recently kind of implemented, I guess you could say, someone part of my support system had suggested like, maybe go out on a walk or on a hike and dedicate it to his memory. And so I tried that about a month or so back, and I gave it a shot, and it was actually super powerful. Like I feel like being out in nature for me is like already healing as it is, but when you actually go out and you set this intention of like, I'm going to connect with the memory of my loved one and the spirit of my loved one, and like just being out in nature, and I really feel like I was able to like be mindful of my experience, and I felt like my brother's presence around, and just this beautiful like sense of peace, I guess, listening to the birds sing and the sound of the running water, and getting to the top of the hike and hearing the leaves rustling in the wind, and it was awesome. So I definitely feel like I want to do more of that. And then even like attending groups, I feel like is a way of honoring the memory of Elijah. There's one thing that really stood out to me when I attended the first group, was that in the beginning, we kind of introduce ourselves and state our loved one's name, because it's kind of like bringing them in with us, and that's super powerful to me. So just being able to talk about him, saying his name, just keeping that memory alive, like that's really important to me.
On November 30th, 2021, Elijah Gracia's life was lost to homicide. If you have any information about this case, please contact 88 Crime to leave an anonymous tip. If your tip leads to an arrest, you may be eligible for a reward of up to $2,500.